Good morning. Welcome to Second Parish in Hingham, Unitarian Universalist. I'd like to welcome our guests this morning. We have some guests, and we're very happy they're here. And of course, it's wonderful to see the familiar faces and the young faces and the younger faces. So thank you all for being here today. It is the beginning of Pride Month. You see, I've got the right stole on for the day, so I'm quite pleased with myself. And also, we are signing in some new members today, so a lot is going to be happening. Is there anything anybody would like to announce? Any announcements? Pam, please come up.
Good morning. Please join us after church today for two discussions. Susan Weisenbeck will lead a discussion about what our budget looks like next year. And I will talk about some proposed revisions to our bylaws, and that's after coffee hour right here in Cushing Hall. And then next Sunday, June 8th, is our annual meeting. Please join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Susan.
I have to add a little. We're planning a retirement party for Stephanie, which is Friday, June 13th. We hope that everyone will come, of all ages. And if you haven't RSVP'd yet, we need to know that you're coming because we need a count for the caterer. And a good problem to have, we have more people than we can accommodate in Cushing Hall already. So we are moving the party to the Sons of Italy, and we can give you directions and more information on that. So please let us know if you're coming.
Cost me an awful lot of money to get those extra people to come. I'll tell you, cost me a ton of money.
Turn her microphone off. Our live stream technician is not here today because he is graduating this weekend. Mm-hmm. And so that is a good opportunity for me to say, please sign the wonderful card that we have for him. I'll have it at coffee hour. And if anybody would like to make a contribution to his graduation gift, I'll be accepting money. And if there's anyone at home who wants to send money for Nate, you can use the donation button on the website. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Susan. Nate graduated yesterday, is that right? Good, and he didn't trip. Okay, good. You did all right. Well, congratulations to him. Are there any other announcements? Peggy, come on up.
Second Parish is again going to be participating in the Lunches for Veterans program that we've done every year for the last 3 or 4 years. Our month is July, and there are 9 days. There are Tuesdays and Fridays where you volunteer to prepare 6 bag lunches, and there's a whole explanation that will be in the weekly update and a link to a sign-up genius. So I hope you will all participate.
Thank you, Peggy. And thank you to all who may volunteer to do that. Appreciate it. Any other announcements? Lisa, the art show's over.
I'm just helping Peggy out this morning so she didn't have to make too many announcements. Peggy and I kind of work on the book group together, and we're just trying to give it a little jump start and see if we can get it going on a more regular basis, have more regular attendance. So we came up with this survey, and it just asks you some questions about, are you interested in joining the book group? What kind of books would you like to read? How often do you think we should meet? What is the best time for that? So we've handed a bunch out. If anybody didn't get one and they would like one, flag me down, flag Peggy down. And then you can use a pen. All the pews have a pen or a pencil to fill it out, and then hand it off to us in coffee hour, or just leave it on the credenza and we'll collect it from there. So anybody want to?
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Any other announcements? I would just like to say as a final announcement, what a joy it is to have the choir this morning. And when Mark asked me what my theme was today, and I said light, he chose some wonderful pieces, and I hope you will enjoy the music, especially this morning. So let our service begin.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep.
The Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God
On the face of the waters.
And God said,
Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness.
There are two ways of spreading the light: to be the candle or to be the mirror that reflects it. We meet this morning to reignite the light that can guide us forward along pathways of faith and meaning. Let us rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn this morning. You may not even need the hymn book. It's This Little Light of Mine. Feel free to clap when you want.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,
better than caffeine, isn't it? It is not in the order of service, but at this point in the service, we are going to welcome new members who have met with the membership committee and me to discuss becoming members of the church and have decided they so wish. And I'm going to involve you and them in this ceremony. So Anna and Patsy and Peggy and Pam, if you would please come forward. And you could just stand over here by the chalice if you would. As I say a few words of welcome to Anna and Patsy as members, it will be a responsive welcome. And your part is simply to say, walk with us. Into this house, we bring our hunger for awakening. We bring compassionate hearts and a will towards justice. Walk with us. Into this home, we bring the courage to walk on after hard losses. Into this home, we bring our joy and our gratitude for ordinary blessings. Walk with us. By our gathering, we bless this place. In its shelter, we know ourselves blessed. Walk with us. Having discussed membership and decided to join, I'm going to ask you to please signify the joy that you feel and we feel by accepting the opportunity to sign the membership book. As chair of the membership committee, Peggy will show you where to sign. And as a symbol of your membership, you not only get a hug, and I hope you feel the one coming from the congregation your way, but you get a very serious symbol of what we're all about. And very good, Anna, you got the spirit. The first thing you have to do is make sure that the pinwheel works. Excellent. Patsy? Okay, that's wonderful. And now you have a serious job. Your first serious job is to light the chalice this morning. And Patsy, if you would take the wand. Thank you for lighting it, Anna. And Anna's going to relight the wand, symbolizing how we walk on. Wonderful. And now, as we do when we light our chalice, let us all say together, Anna and Patsy for the first time as members, our covenant. You'll find it in the order of service. With love for each other and with respect for each person's search for truth and meaning, we unite to be of service to our neighbors and the larger world. Congratulations. And now you may be seated. And children, would you come on forward, please? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, you love to sit on the floor. Okay. Oh, we got another floor sitter. Robin, would you use the microphone when the children speak? Thanks. Okay, well, now that you're comfortably seated, I'm going to ask you to stand up. Honestly. And we're going to play a game. I think you might know this game, but I'm going to change it a little bit, all right? Are you game for that? You're all with me? Okay. So what you have to do, you have to take your arms and put them like this, and then I want you to go, keep doing it, just like you're running, okay? Okay. And then I wonder what you're going to do when I say, red light. Oh, you do know this game, right? Okay. All right. It is red light, green light. Let's. That's right. So let's do it again. Green light. Green light. Red light. Green light. Yellow light. Green light. Red light. You guys are good. Take a seat. You played that standing red light, green light very well. Does anybody know why I didn't have you run? Molly, why didn't I have you run? Wait till you get the mic, okay?
Because there's 2 lit candles in front of us.
Oh, good thinking. We don't want you running when we've got open flames. Very good. Any other reasons, maybe? What are you thinking, Mikey?
Because it's a church.
Oh, yes. We usually don't run in church unless there's an emergency.
Because there's a lot of things that are fragile.
Oh, yes. There are a lot of things, including somebody, that are fragile. Very, very good.
There's not a lot of space.
Oh, you're right. There isn't a lot of space to run.
It may change the mood of the room.
Oh, yes, indeed. It does change the mood. What would the mood be like if everybody ran?
Maybe crazy.
It might be crazy. It might be more like recess than church, huh? Yeah, so I'm glad we didn't run. But what?
Kind of. Because at recess time, you can run on the playground.
That's right. At recess time at school, you can run on the playground, yeah. But not in church. You're very smart. Thank you very much for all these good... You can run outside in the parking lot if there are no cars, right? Yeah, you got to be careful of those cars. Even when people you know are driving them. Right. Okay, well, the reason we played that game is I wanted you to think about how sometimes lights tell us what to do. For example, if you go down the street towards the harbor and you come to that place where the road just turns really sharply, anybody remember that? There's a yellow light there. What does it tell the drivers to do? Go ahead, Caroline.
Go slow.
Go slow. Is that what you were going to say? Yeah, it tells you to slow down. But if you go up the street this way and you pass South School, you come to a place where there's a crosswalk and there's some lights. And what do those lights tell us?
To stop for pedestrians.
To stop for pedestrians. Very, very right. Did you want to add another thing? Okay, Molly's going to tell us something else it tells us.
Because buses turn in there, and the bikers walk across that crosswalk.
Very good. It isn't just the people walking, it's also the people on bikes and the people on buses. Well, for years, since we've had electricity, human beings have used lights to tell us what to do. But you know what? Even before there was electricity, we used light to tell us what to do. For example, when the sun goes down, what does that tell us to do? Go to sleep, go to bed. What else? No, those are good things. And when the sun comes up, it tells us to wake up. And do you know, because we do what lights tell us, there's this old expression I'm going to teach you. And maybe you can make it a new expression for your generation. It's called "by my lights." By my lights. Have any of you heard that? By my lights? Let's ask the grown-ups if you want to turn around and see, okay? Any of the grown-ups ever hear that expression, by my lights? One. Somebody else reads Victorian novels. Oh, good. Some people up here, too. And what by my lights means is that by the lights that tell me what to do, this is what is right or this is what is wrong. Usually it's used to tell your opinion about whether something is good or bad. So can you all just say that? By my lights? By my lights. And that's what I'm going to talk to the grown-ups about, okay? By my lights. Very good. Now, I told you we have lights that tell us what to do, but also music tells us what to do. And some music is going to tell us to, you can dance out as we sing, Go Now in Peace. All right? Okay, Mark, go now in peace. Thank you, Robin. Our responsive reading this morning is by John Lewis. It's taken from his book, Across That Bridge. And Christy is going to be our responder this morning. You are a light. You are the light.
Never let anyone, any person, or any force
dampen, dim, or diminish your light.
study the path of others to make your way easier and more abundant.
Lean toward the whispers of your own heart.
Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates.
If you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love,
if you shine like a beacon for all to see,
then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation.
A world community.
And beloved community that is finally at peace with itself. As we listen to the anthem, I invite you to think of the joys or the sorrows that you might want to have read out in the sanctuary. And particularly if you have somebody who has graduated and you would just like to write their name, please feel free to do that as well. We will now hear the anthem.
Unafraid.
If the ushers would collect the cards with joys and concerns. I would like to tell you that I heard from our good friend Donna, who was very active in the church until they moved away. She and her husband Bill are fulfilling their lifetime dream of sailing through the Intercoastal Waterway, making a huge loop. And she has a blog, which if anybody would like to follow, I would be very happy to share the connection with you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Rich. And I would also just like to say aloud what I think most of you know from an email that went out this week, that our dear friend Lee is moving to Florida in September. So she will not be returning as our Sunday adventurer-in-chief. That is a joy and a concern. It is a joy because she has long wanted to move out of the outrageously expensive Boston housing market. And she will be going to Florida to work on a farm for a while and then hopes to go to Mexico. So we will miss her terribly. And she leaves a void, but we will fill it. You will help us. And we will find somebody to take over that job. But certainly it is with great joy that she makes a move that feels like what she needs to do right now. In addition to those joys and concerns, it was a joy to celebrate Nate's graduation yesterday. Proud grandparents and aunt. Thank you. Also, Lee's son Fisher graduates, I think, tomorrow. It's a joy that after experiencing a stroke on Tuesday, my sister-in-law Beth should have no permanent deficits. Oh, Julie, that is a great joy, and we're so glad to hear she's doing well. We spent a couple of days in Boston this weekend for an event and saw many university graduates walking around in their caps and gowns with their families. There's nothing like seeing that. I realized this weekend I have spent more than half of my life at graduations in June. I'm the person who tears up at pomp and circumstance, and that is certainly a joy to see that. And speaking of education, I would just like to embarrass my two friends, Gary and Av, and say that Av was just a wonderful presence in the Westwood Public Schools, did a lot of wonderful work, and Gary is a very gifted woodworker, and they came all the way from Linfield. I think you need a passport to get down here from Linfield, but here they are. So what a joy to see you folks this morning. Shall we now sing together as we remain seated, Spirit of Life, which you'll find in the order of service, and then we will pray together. Shall we pray and reflect together? Spirit of life, known by many names, served by many hands, held in many hearts. In this season of commencements and commencing, may we find treasures in the adventures of each launching, each flight, each landing of our lives. May we pack appropriately for each adventure as it calls, ever including our love, our faith, our humor, and what grace we may find for both desired and dreaded encounters. The Spirit of life travels with each of us through known and unknown terrain and space. The love of this community enfolds us today, tomorrow, and always. We are grateful for the light that truly guides us. May we turn from distracting lights that threaten to lead us astray with their dazzling beams. May we ever seek out the beacons of truth, of compassion, of enduring meaning. In this time of silence, we each now shine light into the joys and concerns of our own hearts with a gentle relentlessness that grants us honest strength and hopeful purpose. Now I invite you to join me in the words attributed to St. Francis for our shared prayer. You will find them in the order of service. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. Amen. At this time, the morning offering for the good work of this church will be given and gratefully received. Thank you for the gift of your presence. Thank you for the gift of your energies and talents. Thank you for the gift of you. And thank you for your money. The morning offering will now be taken.
By faith we see the hand of God in the light of creation's grand design, in the lives of those who prove his faithfulness, who walk by faith and not by sight. By faith our fathers roamed the earth, with the power of his promise in their hearts, of the holy city built by God's own command, a place where peace and justice reign. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on him, our souls reward, till the rain By faith the church was called to go in the power of the Spirit to the lost, to deliver captives and to preach good news in every corner of the earth. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on Him, our soul's reward, till the race is finished and the work is done. We'll walk by faith and not by sight. We will stand as children of the promise. We will fix our eyes on Him, our soul's reward, till the race is finished and the work is done. We'll walk by faith and not by sight.
Please rise as we sing together the doxology. Seated. Our reading this morning comes from a book entitled Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser. She writes, "Your path is your own, but you must walk side by side with others, with compassion and generosity as your beacons. If anything is required, it is this: fearlessness in your examination of life and death, willingness to continually grow, and openness to the possibility that the ordinary is extraordinary, and that your joys and sorrows have meaning and mystery. If you're interested in the door to the heavens opening, start with the door to your own self." Let there be light. Third verse of the first book of the historically and still quite influential Holy Bible. In this creation story, the earth and humanity emerge only after God fashions light out of chaos. In all the Abrahamic religions, light is important. It's important in other religions as well, in Hinduism, in Buddhism, and it's very important in Confucianism. As a universal and a fundamental symbol, light plays an enormous role in our lives, especially in the conflict between good and evil, addressed by both religion and morality. Light is practical, but it is also profoundly spiritual. Richard Rohr points out in today's Centering Thought that light helps us see. Duh, of course, that's obvious. It's very practical, but it also helps us see in terms of recognizing what is the good or the right thing to do. For ages, both religion and morality have offered clear, honorable, positive sources of illumination to guide us towards a better meaning for and the living of life, towards a better approach to the perennial problem of good and evil. And that illumination, the idea of it, becomes particularly important in this season of graduations, of commencements. I think of Nate, I think of Fisher, and all the other individuals moving forward into a new stage of life. Along with them, I think of Second Parish, including myself and Lee, also about to go through transition. I think of the beacons that guide us in this commencement season that sees all of us moving forward. So I ask you to hear my remarks about light for the graduates, yes, but also for all of us. As I consider the guiding light necessary when moving into new territory, I am reminded of an old-fashioned phrase that apparently Rich and I are the only two people who remember, by my lights, which actually has an even older version, by my lamps. But now you all know it, and I'm working on the youngsters to use it, so it may come back, who knows. It's actually quite an old expression. It dates back to the use of crude oil lamps by early human beings. The kind and the amount of oil that you put into the lamp, and as lamp technology developed, as the kind of wick you used and how you fashioned it and trimmed it, affected the nature and the amount of the lamp's brightness. Some of us here are old enough to remember when camping lanterns were not as slick as they are today, and the light that we could get wasn't quite good enough for reading, which was always my highest criteria. It wasn't a big leap from thinking of light as something that changed with how you took care of it, for people to start thinking of light in terms of morality and understanding as being the fuel that would determine a person's judgment. So we wind up with this phrase, by my lights, that captures the symbolism of how our decisions and progress can be guided by, sometimes religion, sometimes morality, our lamps. Whatever insight follows the opening phrase, by my lights, becomes more than just a casual remark. You don't say, by my lights, I think I'll have popcorn. You say, by my lights, I think we should, and you refer to doing something that might help the world be a little bit better. Especially, though, when we move through transitions, we need strong and steady light to guide us. It might be the light of faith. It might be the light of reason. It might be some sort of combination. And that light can be conveyed in words, it can be conveyed in deeds, it can be conveyed by what we observe. What I'm saying to you now is what I would say to everybody who's graduating from any school, any congregation that's graduating from a minister, any minister and RE director who are graduating from a church. We need to continue being guided by lights that are reliable, that are enduring, that are compassionate. Where do we find such lights, such positive beacons today? As I've said, in other times it was assumed we could look to religion and morality, but today it seems more than we may remember, though there have been examples of it in the past. We find religion being manipulated. We find morality being turned upside down. We live in a world of influencers, many of whom direct and distract us with seductive lights of excessive material goods or glittering experiences. These false lights can be attractive no matter what our age or place in life. I don't think any one of us can sit back and smugly say, well, clearly you're talking to the graduates right now. My lights are all set. Though I did have a member of this church once say to me, I've figured out what I believe. That's how it is. Frankly, as consumers, human beings will always be attracted to the glitter of false promises. That vulnerability may have contributed to the initial recognition of the fact that we need religious or spiritual guidance. We need a solid foundation of values and honest information upon which to structure our lives and our choices. The truest light would seem to shine through a spiritual and ethical lens. This is the light of those who live meaningfully and enduringly. Indeed, where do we find such light? And especially in a time of transition when everything seems mixed up, where do we find it? Well, this morning's responsive reading offered a starting place. John Lewis reminds us that we carry such light inside of us. As he views it, we learn by looking at others and listening to our hearts as we react to what it is that they're doing. He directs us to follow our truth down the road to peace and affirmation of love, not only so that we might shine like a beacon for all to see, but also by, in doing so, to create the beloved community. That is a term that Martin Luther King Jr. adopted and brought into wide use. Certainly in our not so brand new and not so inescapable world of social media, Lewis's message might get lost in the noise and in the false lights. The superficial values driving some of those influencers insistently elevate the value of the self over the community. But some of our greatest religious and moral leaders would argue that the self and the community must seek an ever-fluid balance that avoids the extreme distortion of elevating one high over the other for long periods. If we lose our vision of how responsibility and privilege must cooperate, we can lose the steady light that truly guides the individual and the community forward. I know it's understandable to a point how self-aggrandizement can overwhelm group responsibility. Finding and following and holding on to a balance between the individual and the society can exhaust us. On the other hand, gratifying our immediate personal needs and wants provides a much quicker reward. Yet in our reading this morning, Elizabeth Lesser, too, reminds us that we must balance our own path with walking side by side with others. She identifies compassion and generosity as our real beacons, thus reflecting the universal truth of the golden rule found in all major world religions, as I keep saying, that we must treat others as we would treat ourselves. This delicate dance of the individual and the community requires constant attention, constant adjustment, and wisely illuminated vision. Similar advice from two people from vastly different places. John Lewis, from the rough and tumble of civil rights and politics. Elizabeth Dresser, influenced by a Sufi mystic who maintains a spiritual and wellness retreat center. Both, however, recognize something that graduates just starting out, that all of us in transition need to embrace. We must not only be guided by the beacons of light, the true beacons of light, we must also keep taking care of those lights. Effectiveness requires maintenance. Writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley states this more eloquently in his poem, "What we choose is what we are." We must tend and feed and fan that inward fire whose small, precarious flame, kindled or quenched, creates the noble or the ignoble people we are, the worlds we live in, and the very fates. We are never done. We must always be tending and feeding and fanning that inward fire, that light. It is a precarious flame. Now, maintenance is something many people have been able to and often choose or need to hire out, Somebody else can do it. Maintenance requires expertise and it requires energy. But it also requires courage. Lesser lists fearlessness as important to our pathways. But such courage, such fearlessness is never a fixed or a finished entity. Along with it, Lesser also identifies the openness to possibility as being quite vital. Those are big requirements. It might seem easy to convince graduating high school students of those requirements. They seem primed. They seem eager, young, flexible, strong. They seem that way. They seem able to embrace the new and the challenging. Still, for many of them, and certainly for many of us older commencers, there can lurk a fear and a rejection of facing the change that possibility suggests. I get it. Sometimes we want to reach a place of stasis where all our assumptions are set. No more work is required to figure out this life we live. We can rest and enjoy what we've achieved. And it's true that life does teach us about life, so longer life would seem to give us increased insight, and eventually we would be set. But as Lesser points out, the willingness to keep growing, what I think of as growing towards the light, allows us a continuing gift of finding the extraordinary in what we might dismiss as ordinary. The ability to find more refined appreciation of meaning throughout our lives. The ongoing quest of growing enhances every day of our lives. And here's where our youth meet us, where we both share the need for such productive light. The differences of the young and the old may not be viewed in the same way. Youth seems to be moving up, and often elders feel they are decreasing or declining. But a true and an honest and a good light can help us all with whatever our reality is. Partially because such light links us to something bigger, starting with community. The illumination from enduring, well-tended beacons bathes us in a light of hope, of faith, of necessary humor, and possibility beyond what we all know in the small yet meaningful package of our individual lives, where each of us has a limited lens. But our small lens, be it of self, of school, of church, of profession, contains the possibility of being reflected. It can be magnified beyond what we alone see. Both the individual lens and the collective beam gain strength from each other. We are not just physical entities. Those guided by the false light of material beacons alone will shine for a time, perhaps, but ultimately wear out. When we understand that our being also reflects both our individual selves and the greater community, all a complex combination of material, intellect, emotion, spirit, we can reach for vision provided by the enduring beacons of true light. We can face chaos. We can face change. We can face transition and hope with faith, with the strength of lasting love. Since well before I became a minister, I have begun and ended each day reading two sayings that I have framed and hanging on the wall in my home office. Both sayings come from the Bible. Both are sayings that I will confess to highlighting in colored yellow pencil when, as a student in high school, I decided that I really needed to read through the entire Bible. One of the sayings comes from the Psalms, and it says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." The other comes from the Gospels, and it reminds me that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. My understanding of these pieces of advice have developed over the years, or perhaps I should say they have commenced. They keep commencing throughout my life. And I hope my understanding continues to grow, because those two sayings have provided reliable beacons. I hope you have beacons of your own. This sermon began with the age-old words, "Let there be light." Mark and the choir and the soloists have offered us glorious music about light. Together, we have sung about light and read about light. At graduation, at times of transition, in the big and the small, the tough and the tender moments of our lives, let true light shine. And let us express that again, singing, by rising in body or spirit, to sing our closing hymn, number 143, "Not in Vain, the Distant Beacons." Please be seated. Remember, after coffee hour, we will have the budget and bylaw hearing in here. All are welcome. And then you may go out into what looks like a glorious day full of light. Seek out true light. Let it illuminate your life. Ever tend the clarity and the strength of that light. Ever grow with its shining beams, so that even in the darkness, you may feel the warmth of light's promise. Amen.